Good to see you guys, and thanks for being here. I'm just going to talk a little bit about my journey to reaching out to Crisis Connections this year and getting them into our school here. I'm at Taffet-Sahali 6 through 12 STEM school, and we at Federal Way Public Schools this year have dedicated time to social emotional learning that I'm working with our teachers to provide resources and coach to teach those 30-minute lessons dedicated 4 days a week for our students. I worked with TeenLink in Seattle Public Schools in my health classrooms, like Stephen said, and they were just such a great resource for my kids as we did our mental health unit. We talked about mental health disorders, destigmatizing, normalizing, reaching out to a counselor. They came into the classroom and just really backed up those lessons and provided another resource for students to reach out to if they were in crisis or if they just needed to talk. And the lessons were really great. They made connections with my students, and I thought it was so valuable. So this year, as we went into remote learning and we were talking about that students were going to be possibly experiencing a lot more issues with depression, with anxiety, with risk for self-harm, with risk for suicidality, that's who came to mind. And as I thought, who can support at our schools as we go into this, and as teachers need more support in teaching social emotional learning. So I actually reached out to Crisis Connections and said, hey, how can we get you guys to our schools? And we talked about that they did come into health classrooms. My concern was that not all of our students at our school are taking health right now. And so they would reach this small pocket of students that were in health, and it wouldn't make a big enough impact on our school. So I asked them to come to a teacher professional development to present and talk about what they would be presenting to our classrooms, and to modify the lesson to come into that social emotional learning time so that all of our students could have access to the information. And the specific thing that led me to them, beyond just talking about that students would possibly be experiencing a lot more issues with anxiety or depression or just needing that extra support, was there a specific event where we got information about a conversation that students were having with one another, where one of the students was telling another student that they were having suicidal ideations, and it was me and the counselor who needed to reach out and support both of those students. And I thought, the student who was hearing this information didn't know what to do with it, so we needed to provide support for him around what do I do when I hear that my friend is experiencing this. So I worked with Crisis Connections to come in. They came to a teacher professional development, so all staff was there, and just talked about what they would be doing if they came to social emotional learning time. And then we provided the information for them to schedule the lessons. It didn't happen right away, so I was all stoked, like, oh, they're all going to be scheduling these lessons, but our teachers are extremely busy in planning all of their lessons. So we ended up providing them time during one of our leadership meetings to go ahead and send that email and get the lesson scheduled. And then it started rolling. They came to our classroom, our virtual classrooms, and did the 30-minute lesson. And I was there to support, the counselor was there to support. So we all kind of did wraparound, and we were so thankful that we all did. As they were there, our kids, our scholars' cameras started popping on that we hadn't seen come on, and they were sharing things that our teachers didn't know that the students would be open to sharing. So they were opening up and sharing some of their experiences that were heavy and hard sometimes for the teacher to hear and know what to do with, but gave us the opportunity to know which kids needed support. We were able to start a small group with some of the students who needed extra support. And it just got those social emotional learning lessons really rolling in the direction that we wanted them to go. And it was just this opener that provided that, as well as provided support for students who either had might have had suicidal ideations themselves, or had a friend who did, or a family member. So I was just very thankful that they came, that they connected with our students, and that they were able to open up those doors for us and for our teachers, and to talk about something that a lot of people are afraid to talk about, but we need to be talking about with our kids. So we have continued our partnership and are talking about creating a community partner relationship with our school district, and how to do that with other districts. So I'm looking forward to continued partnership with Crisis Connections, and being able to just open up relationships for our teachers and our students, so that we have a window in to know when our students need support, and that we're not having to find that out secondhand through someone heard that someone said this, or that it popped up on an email conversation, that we can get on that prevention end, and before things go further than we hope that they'll go. So that has been our journey so far. I think that we're kind of in the beginning stages of getting those lessons going and getting it to all students, but I'm looking forward to continuing to build that.